What's going on YouTube? ShadowFox4562 here, coming at you with another top 5 video. This video is going to be top 5 traps in the Yu-Gi-Oh meta that are not staple. So, as a disqualifier, these 4 cards are not going to be included in the video. Actually, I guess these 5, because Fiendish Chain is kind of a staple. So yeah, these 5 are not going to be included. Otherwise, they'd probably dominate 3 of the top 5 spots. So we're going to push those off to the side real quick. Before we get started, some honorable mentions. These are cards that didn't really make the cut, just because they're really good cards, but they either see minimal play, but they actually do good when they're played, or they have fallen out of favor in the past couple months, or they're not as good as these 5. So first is Phoenix Wing Windblast. This card just saw a lot of play in YCS Philly. It is a really good card. Its effect is discard 1 card, then add 1 or then target 1 card your opponent controls, place a card on top of the deck. It's a good card to stop a bunch of like exceed plays, to stop like just a bunch of stuff, but unfortunately it didn't make the top 5. Next we have Skill Prisoner. Skill Prisoner, in my opinion, is a really good card. The only reason it didn't make the top 5 is because it is a very situational card, and it's only really good in 2 decks. In my opinion. So yeah, Skill Prisoner can't. Mistake. This card is seen in almost every single side deck, but it's just not good enough. It's not as good as the other 5 cards, so that's why it's not. And finally, Reckless. Now, for a time there, Reckless Greed was played in almost every single deck because of Patrick Hoban. We have not seen that as of late. So this is why it's kind of fallen out of the top 5. Alright. So, starting off at number 5. Well, actually, Fiendish Chain wasn't disqualified. Starting out at number 5, we have Fiendish Chain. Fiendish Chain is a good card. I mean, basically, if your opponent activates an effect, you can just play it, negate it. It is vulnerable to a bunch of cards, and that's why it's only at the number 5 spot, due to MST, Bujin Turtle, the Sylvans kind of laugh at this card, Artifacts kind of laugh at this card. I mean, it's just one of those cards where it's like, it's good, but it can be stopped by a lot of stuff, so that's why it's only number 5. Number 4, we have Vanities Emptiness. Vanities Emptiness is a card that we saw basically almost go to staple level. I mean, you just put this in. We saw people siding or maining 2 and 3 of these at one time, and it's a really good card, especially when people were summoning Key Beetle all over the place. Infernities love this card, and it shuts down almost every single deck in the meta except for Bujin. It's just so good. Like, it's such a good card, but it's only number 4. Number 3, we have Trap Tricks Trap Hole, Nightmare. This card's effect is when a monster your opponent controls that was special summoned this turn activates an effect, negate the effect, and if you do, destroy the card. This card it saw an immense amount of play at YCS Philly, and at almost every single regionals after that, and that's why it caused this card to spike up to around $30, and then it bottomed out around 10. So I mean, this card, you know, it's searchable. It's played in the Artifact engine. It's really good. I mean, basically, it's so much better than Bottomless and just a bunch of other cards, because the meta is such right now that, you know, your opponent summons an Arc, they're gonna take your monster this turn. Your opponent summons a Tiramisu, they're gonna bounce cards this turn. They summon a Dragosack, they're gonna pop cards this turn or try and activate its effect to summon tokens, you know? This card is just so good if used correctly. It's one of the Artifact's main trap cards, and Artifacts are obviously doing good right now. So, number 3. Number 2, Black Horn of Heaven. This card, at the beginning of last format, saw a price jump from about 10 cents to almost $10 for the rare. And it has never looked back. Black Horn of Heaven is so good. It's so much better than cards like Bottomless, Compulse, because, I mean, with Bottomless and Compulse, like Bottomless, Arc can stop that, you know, a bunch of other cards can stop it, or your opponent can Forbidden Lance it, you know. Black Horn of Heaven, there is none of that. If you special summon if your opponent special summons a monster, you negate it and kill it. That's it. Like, it's done. It's spell speed 3, and unless your opponent runs 7 tools or Wiretap, they're not stopping this card. So that's why this is at number 2. And number 1 is Light Imprisoning Mirror. The only reason why Light Imprisoning Mirror is number 1 is because it's in every single side deck that you see. It completely shuts down Artifacts. It completely shuts down Bujin. And it's just one of those cards where they really don't care. Like, you just flip this, and I mean, Artifacts really, they can't do anything. Like, it's an auto lose card. And the same with Bujins. Like, Bujins can do a little bit under Light Imprisoning Mirror, but unless they top into that MST, I mean, you really can't. Like, it stops Yamato, it stops every single one of their monsters' effects. So I feel that this card, since it has such popularity and since it is used in every single side deck, that justifies it being number 1. Also, one more card I wanted to touch on that wasn't on this list, and that is really good, and I don't have a copy with me, is Skill Drain. Skill Drain is an amazing card in itself. It's an honorable mention. Actually, it's probably almost right there with Fiendish Chain for me, because Mythic Rulers use it, they main it, and it's so good. I mean, it shuts down every... Sylvan's auto-lose to it, guys. Yugioh auto-lose to it. I mean, it's so good, and I wish that I could have put it above Fiendish Chain, but since it's only really run in one deck, I couldn't. So tell me what you thought of the top 5. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of disagreement. Remember, guys, this is only my opinion, so let me know what you think, and comment, like, and subscribe. Thanks, guys.